from our Standard Glass Studios inside Howe Creek Landing on Military Cutoff Road. Mornings with Joe Catenacci is on the air until 9 o'clock. It is Wednesday, October 3-1, 2018. We are 8 minutes past the top of the hour. A chilly start to your hump day. 46 degrees in the port city, a high of 74. Going to warm up. Beautiful day on tap. Sunshine, Carolina blue skies across southeastern North Carolina. You can find us at bigtalkerfm.com. Through our social media platform on Facebook at The Big Talker 106.7 FM. You can watch our live broadcast each and every morning on Facebook. You can also download our mobile app and find us through your handheld device. You can find us in the Apple iStore for your iPhone, the Google Play Store for your Android. Simply search WFBT while navigating the App Store for your mobile phone. Joining us here this morning from the Consumer Choice Center, Yaël Ossowski is with the Consumer Choice Center, as I just mentioned, and he joined us about a year ago to talk about net neutrality. Well, he had a recent article published in the Washington Examiner concerning the healthcare discussion. And, you know, we've talked with State Treasurer Dale Folwell over the last couple of weeks, and his battle with health insurance companies to be more transparent and to, have a better understanding of why consumers, particularly in the case of Treasurer Folwell, fighting for the 700,000 plus members who use the state health plan for services, why we should have a better idea of what things costs, and in turn that should help lower the costs of things when you're able to compete with different companies and so far and so forth, I guess I should say. Wow, this is just totally hacking the introduction to Yaël here this morning. Hey, we'll just bring him in. Yaël, good morning to you, sir. How's everything going? And it's great to have you back on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joe. It's a pleasure. Hope everyone is doing all right in Wilmington. Everyone's holding up. And, great to talk to you again.
Yeah, so what kind of made you move forward with this article that you recently published in the Washington Examiner, kind of taking a look at, maybe a new alternative to the way we've done things as it relates to healthcare and these terms that have been coming up as of late, these primary care physicians. We have one as a sponsor on our program, Sean Hannity show that runs on our station from 3 to 6. He has ads promoting primary care physicians. Tell us about your story and what made you, to write the article that was published, at this publication up there in D.C.
Yeah, so it really all began with, a couple conversations. I think everyone around the dinner table talks about the healthcare system, costs, insurance, and we all kind of come up with the same idea that it's a big racket. There's a lot of money that goes into this. There's a lot of money that's spent. We're the country that spends the most on healthcare globally, and our results aren't always the best. So I started kind of getting interested in this stuff, looking at it personally, and that was able to mesh with what we've been doing at Consumer Choice Center. We're looking at options that people can look at as consumers to actually have better market access. They can have better products, better services. So I started doing a lot of research, just around what doctors can offer and how I can just have a doctor without any of the insurance riffraff. And that's where I found the direct primary care. And for me, this was kind of revolutionary. The idea that you can actually have a doctor that you work with, that you contract with, much like you would pay for any other service, every time you visit, you pay a certain fee, and that's it. No follow-up calls, no other insurance, no other contracts. Simple and efficient. And that's really what I was able to find. I was super surprised. I was very excited at how easy it is. And then I was able to learn that this is something that's kind of spreading around the country, and it's something that we have in North Carolina as well. So I'm really happy about that.
I think just one of the multi-pronged solutions that we need to help, alleviate the cost of healthcare, as you documented in your report, healthcare costs up like 22% or so over the last couple of years. And, for those who have employer-sponsored healthcare, your deductibles have grown astronomically over the last decade or so. And, we're not advocating necessarily to drop healthcare altogether. This is just an easier, cheaper way to get direct care and be able to speak to the physician on a daily basis if you see fit. In addition to that, on the transparency side of things, it's like going to a restaurant. Every service that is provided by that primary care doctor is listed with a price next to it. And one of the things that I think would make people kind of put a smile on their face when they go to the doctor's office. They know what it's going to cost before they go there.
Exactly. And the one doctor that I was able to find, this is just outside the Charlotte area, direct primary care of the Carolinas. I was able to just go there, fill in a little form online, and every time I've shown up for any appointments, I'm the only person in the waiting room. There's no other forms to fill out, just whatever conditions or ailments you might have or what kind of physical you need. And because the doctor only has to deal with patients and doesn't have to deal with insurance companies, he can actually cut down all of the costs that are typically associated with administration. So the last studies I saw show that direct primary care doctors can cut down by 40% their administrative costs. And the greatest thing about it really is that the doctors are free. They're free to talk with you, discuss any kind of issues you might have, explain things to you. Because they don't have to deal with insurance companies, you're able to get really good face time with them. You're able to keep in contact with them. A lot of direct primary care physicians throughout the country are very, very happy to reach out with their patients via email or by phone or text. They can be there with their patients because they don't have to deal with the insurance companies, and they don't have to see 25 patients a day in order to pay the bills. And I think that's probably one of the greater things about this is that we're empowering not just consumers, but the doctors themselves. They don't have to try to work with the large insurance behemoths. They can actually be independent entrepreneurs and offer way lower prices. And I think that's just way better for everyone else.
And when you see this, at least in your experience, like you said, the doctor is there from the moment you kind of walk into his office, her office, to the moment you leave. Maybe somebody up front to do some administrative things and duties, but from drawing blood to having a frank conversation, you go to the doctor now through a traditional healthcare plan. You may get FaceTime with the doctor for like 5 minutes, and that's just to go over some of the results they took. And it's just really an innovative way. And do you feel in your conversations now with your doctor, along with some of the other investigations you're doing, do you see that doctors are just extremely pleased with their ability to kind of get out of the system and go back to probably the original reason why they got into this, and that's to help people?
Indeed. That's the first thing that I kind of noticed with the doctor that I was able to see, Dr. Catenacci at Direct Primary Care Carolinas. For him to be able to meet with me face-to-face, one-on-one, 1 hour, no holds barred, any question, any service that I needed, that was amazing. You could definitely tell that he was a lot happier. He made a conscious decision to do this, as have the thousands of other DPC physicians across the country, and I think that's been good. Now, one thing to add to this is, this is not going to be for everyone. There are obviously some people who already have, very good healthcare plans through their employers or through the state or something like this. The greatest advice that I kind of got from the doctors is you pull out any kind of high deductible insurance plan. This is disaster insurance. If you get any kind of traumatic injuries or you develop cancer or anything else, you're covered. These are typically very low fees. You can find them if you're a non-smoker, if you have a small family. You can only pay a couple $100 a month for these kind of plans. And then you just pay this monthly subscription to the direct primary care physicians. That allows the doctor to make sure that he has enough income so that he can sustain more and more patients, he can spend more time with them, and really doesn't have to deal with insurance. So I've been able to see that not just at the doctor's office I visited, but I've tried to reach out to a lot more of the movement, people who are interested in doing this across the country. There are plans of people doing this statewide, people doing this at the federal level, and the doctors are empowered, and the doctors are happy. There's a lot of social media profiles of doctors on direct primary care plans or offering that, and they're incredibly happy. They're very active on social media. They're actively recruiting. This is something to where the doctors are satisfied, the customers are satisfied, and we're not having to pay these third-party insurance groups, which most of the time are just going to rack up the cost. That's why we don't know what anything costs. But at direct primary care, the greatest thing is that you know what every single thing costs. You know how much the blood test will be. You know how much the MRI will be. You know how much everything will be. There's no negotiating. There's no trying to figure out, and maybe it's one price for one person and another price for another. It really is simple and clear. That's why I was so attracted to that and why I think it's such a great movement happening across.
From a legislative standpoint, are the politicians in Washington kind of catching wind of this kind of new alternative to this healthcare racket, as you call it? And is there any movement from a legislative standpoint that can help people, not only learn about it, but give people a greater access to these primary care doctors?
So we're very fortunate in North Carolina because we have a good amount of practitioners across the state. You have a good amount in the Wilmington area, as you mentioned, but also in most of the major cities, in some rural areas as well. At the federal level, when it comes to law, the biggest thing that the direct primary care physicians want to do is they want to make it so that you as an individual, if you happen to have a health savings account, you should be able to pay for your subscription, your monthly fee, which is anywhere from, let's say, $25 to $85 typically, depending on the direct primary care clinic, that you can use your health savings account to pay for that. So that's really the next legislative battle that is happening right now in Congress. There's a bill that's been referred to the House Committee on Ways and Means. It's kind of going back and forth in the committees. It's something that you do see some bipartisan support. This isn't really a left or right issue. It's more about consumer choice and healthcare freedom, which is very good. So there's a bit of movement there. Hopefully after the midterms, we might see a bit more. There's, again, a lot of information online. If a lot of your listeners would like to see, there's a website that actually maps it out. It's dpcfrontier.com. We're not affiliated with them at all. It's just an independent site with information, graphs, a great map to show you if you have any of these practitioners near you, and it explains a bit more how it works. So this is the kind of transparent system that I think a lot of people would really like. It's something that consumers are happy with. I know doctors are very happy with, and the more that we can kind of spread this, the more that we can hopefully dismantle this entire racket that we have in the healthcare market.
And we can do so through consumer power, and that's a pretty amazing thing. Yaël, before I let you go, two things, I guess, just a question. When you first originally scheduled your doctor's appointment with your new primary care physician, were you kind of baffled as to how easy it was to get in touch with him and then move the process forward to get you in the office and get yourself, in front of the doctor? And two, did you find it while you were meeting with the doctor, did you find it odd that the doctor was actually recommending things for you to do as it relates to your healthcare coverage?
Yeah, I think in the beginning when I just asked for an appointment, for me it was just incredible to find that I could get an appointment within a week. And I was a new patient off the street. They had never heard of me before. They didn't know my insurance situation, any of that. So I was really surprised that I was able to get into the door right away. And I think it'd be the same at most clinics. Because their business model allows for that, and I think that's better for consumers. So I was really surprised at that. I think that was really cool to see. And then when it comes to, the insurance and what the doctor would recommending, I think that's exactly kind of what we need. We need to have doctors who not only understand the ailments, what they can use to, let's say, get your health up to speed, make sure that you're eating healthily, you have the right shots, but also at the same time, how do you navigate the healthcare system? And to have that kind of advice and to have that kind of strategy that they were able to recommend, that's great for me. I'm super empowered. Not only do I know more about what I can do to be healthy, to live a healthier life, and if I do get sick, what I can do and what steps to take, but I can also recommend this to friends and family and other people who would definitely benefit from this. I was really surprised by that. It's something that is really innovative. It is entrepreneurship in practice, and I hope a lot more people will join. And
then on top of that, with a cherry on top, is that you have a question for your doctor. You can shoot them an email, a text message, a phone call, and they're going to get back to you. It's not a nurse or an administrator that needs to relay a message to you. You can have direct contact with your physician, which is another plus and a win-win scenario.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just having that direct contact, if anything comes up, if I have any tests, if I'm traveling and something comes up, he's always there, beck and call. So I got to say that's probably one of the biggest advantages we have so far. And there's no insurance agent that gets in the way, which is the best part.
Taking the middleman out of this conversation, lowering the cost, providing you better care and more face time with your medical doctor. A novel idea. Get the red tape out of the way and allow the doctor to treat the patient, and it helps at the end for everybody. And Yaël, I think you broke it down very simplistic here this morning and in layman's terms, so everyone can get a better understanding of why they maybe should consider moving forward with this alternative to just what we're used to dealing with the big healthcare system and the major insurance companies. Yaël, thanks again for this feedback. We'll follow this story. We follow you, and you have interesting articles all the time that pop up. And when we see relevant to talk with you and our listeners here, we're going to get you back on. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Joe. Have a great day.
Yaël Ossowski with the Consumer Choice Center breaking down this primary care physician conversation that we've had with Dr. Brian Lanier of Promina Health here in Wilmington. He's supported our station, and in turn, he has provided us some great details. And Yaël, I guess, took it a step further here today through his experiences as a consumer. We heard from a doctor as to what he's able to do as a primary care physician, now receiving word from a consumer as to the benefits as to why he decided to go with a primary health care physician. Monthly fee for patients, usually less than $100 as part of a membership program, kind of a subscription-based program directly in tune with your medical doctor. And amazing that a doctor would actually give you recommendations on how to approach healthcare from a insurance standpoint. And then to be able to call them up, email them, text them, empowering the consumer, as Yaël just described beautifully here on the show. We'll take a break. We thank our good friends from the Consumer Choice Center for providing us some valuable information as it relates to healthcare this morning. We'll take another break. Kevin Wizzardo of WWAY will round out this next half hour on the show. Dallas Woodhouse also in the hopper as well. We'll take a break. We'll be back after this.
I'm Eric Lytle for New Hanover County Commissioner. I've been a financial planner for over 16 years. I'm called to serve, and I will be a good steward for all taxpayers' money. I believe in keeping taxes low and attracting new businesses and jobs. A top priority is to increase funding for our public schools and teachers and their safety. I will fully fund the Sheriff's Department and DA's office to keep citizens safe by fighting the local gangs and opioid problem. I will fight to protect our drinking water, waterways, and beaches. Visit LytleForOffice.com.
This message paid for by the committee to elect Eric Lytle.
Hey everyone, I'm Ben Hawkins, Senior Mortgage Loan Originator with Prime Lending. Here in Wilmington, with such rich military roots, Prime Lending and myself are offering no lender fees on all VA loans. That's a savings of over $1,000. Whether you're active military, a retired veteran of this great country, or in the reserves, you continue to give so much to us Americans. It's Prime Lending and Ben Hawkins' duty to give back to you. With fantastic rates, no lender fees on all VA loans, Prime Lending is the company that thanks you for having our back, and in turn, we have yours when you're buying a home. Call me today for a consultation. It's quick and easy and at no cost to you. That's Ben Hawkins with Prime Lending. I am your go-to lender for all things VA. Call me today, 910-352-3373, 910-352-3373, or please visit my website at lendwithben.com.
I'm Skip Watkins, and I live in New Hanover County. I work here, and I've raised a family here. I believe in reducing property taxes because residents of New Hanover County should be able to afford and own a home. In fact, I've helped reduce the tax rate in our county by 10.9%, which saved our residents almost $10 million. I also believe in recruiting clean industries because I care about the public health and safety of our community. The New Hanover County Commissioners led the effort in getting Comores to the table to engage our local, state, and federal leaders to work together towards a solution. Why? Because polluting our drinking water is non-negotiable. Your families deserve clean water. And most importantly, I support additional funding for school safety because we should all have the confidence of knowing that our beautiful children are safe in our schools. I am Skip Watkins, and this is the hard work I've been doing as your county commissioner, and it's the hard work I will continue to do when I am reelected. Paid for by Skip Watkins Campaign.
I'm Michael Lee, and I'm going to ask you to take a moment to think about who I am. Not what you've seen in those false TV ads, but who I really am. I'm a family man. My wife and children are the most important things in my life. I'm also your state senator, and I'm proud of my accomplishments. Teachers in North Carolina have received 5 consecutive pay raises. We delivered major tax relief to middle-class families and small businesses. North Carolina has created more than 500,000 new jobs. I sponsored the Hurricane Florence Recovery Act that was signed into law. I wrote the Clean Water Act, and it's been recognized by leading scientists for its comprehensive approach to protecting our drinking water. My opponent was mayor and doesn't list any of his accomplishments. He just goes on TV and blames me for Gen X. That's ridiculous. He has no solution, and I did. The Clean Water Act. On Tuesday, I ask for your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Michael Lee.
My name is Stephanie Adams, and I am running for New Hanover County Board of Education. I have 15 years of educational experience. In that time, I have served thousands of students and earned a master's degree in education. I have worked in both urban and rural settings in the classroom and as a consultant for Johns Hopkins University. I know that students want to feel safe, valued, and prepared for their future. When elected, I will work tirelessly on behalf of all our children. On November 6th, vote Stephanie Adams.
Paid for by Stephanie Adams for School Board Committee.
All right, just about a minute to go. We ran a little long there with Yaël. Thought it was a relevant conversation, giving that many of the polls, not that we take the polls to fruition every time, but many of the polls out there say the number one concern for many voters headed to the ballot box this election day is the cost of health care. Well, here's an alternative for you, an actual recommendation directly from a physician telling you, get a high deductible plan, which could cost you a couple of $100s a month, and then on top of that, a primary care subscription, which often costs you less than $80 a month, will get you direct contact with a doctor on a day-to-day basis if you need it. And in turn, it provides a little bit more transparency. It provides a little bit more direct contact with your medical professional, and it keeps the middle person out of the way, meaning these large insurance companies. We thank Yaël for stopping by the Consumer Choice Center. Dallas Woodhouse, the executive director of the North Carolina Republican Party, going to break these midterm elections down a little further for us after the break. Bottom of the hour news timeout. As always, you can call us 910-405-1000. We'll be back after this.